Hi, I'm Tess Schultz with Tulip Square, and today I'm going to show you how to make our Country Charm table topper. This is a sew along with our pattern number 613, and you can see it right here. Nice sized table topper. This is one of our bigger ones. It's 22 by 46 when it's finished, and I'll show you how this gets made with just one block made in two different colors, and you create this. So let's hop over to the sewing machine and I'll show you how it goes together. So how this pattern works is it's just one block repeated with two different fabrics. So the first block is going to have the ivory, the yellow, and then in the pattern this is called blue, but this is my blue here. And then the other block will be the red and the ivory with the yellow. So this video goes along with one of our patterns, number 613. The link is in the description, and all of the measurements, dimensions, everything you need are in the pattern. So to start with, we're going to take a red strip and we're going to sew an ivory square to each end of it. And then we're going to take the white strip and we're going to sew a yellow square to each end of it. Like that. And we're going to do that and use up all of these squares to do that. We will have strips left over, but we won't have any squares left over. So we're going to sew all these right here, and then we'll come back and we'll sew the other square to the other end. Okay. Now we're going to take all of these and press them and set them aside, and we're going to work on the center part of the square. So for the center part of each square, we're going to take the yellow large squares and sew the rest of these strips on. So one to each side, like this, and one there. And then we're going to take the blue and sew a white strip to each side. Like that. Now I'll press these and then we'll put our blocks together. Now we have all of these pieces that we just finished and these ones that we set aside earlier. So we're going to take all of the white edges and we're going to line this up here. So we have a white square, and we're going to sew this right along there, and then we'll sew this right along there, and make sure you match up these seams here nicely. So that's one, and then with the others we'll do the same. So you have a red frame on this one. Sew that here and here, and make sure you match up these seams nicely. Now I'm just going to go press all of these and then we'll come back and assemble some strips. Okay, now we have all of these blocks and these blocks, and we're going to make some strips. So we're going to make a strip like this. Sew that right there. Sew another one here. And you're going to make 3 strips with the red frames on the outside, and then you're going to make 4 strips with the red frame in the middle. So 4 strips like this and 3 strips like this. Okay? The easy way to do that is I'm just taking 7 pairs of one of each block. I'll sew that together. And when you're sewing these together, make sure your seams nest nicely like that. If they don't, see, if you turn it this way, they're both going the same direction and they're not going to nest nicely. So if they're not nesting nicely, take your block and turn one of them, and then they should fit together neatly. Now we have 7 pairs like this, and we're just going to sew these last 7 squares onto the end. So 4 of them will get this sewn onto the end, and then the other 3 will get this sewn on to the other end. Now I'm just going to go press all of these, and then we'll assemble the strips together. Now we're just going to sew these strips together in an alternating pattern. So we'll just sew one there and then one there. Just alternate and sew them all together. You will start and finish with one of these. Make sure you line up all your seams really nicely here. So we have this all sewn together and pressed, and now we're just going to take our long border strip and sew it along the longest side, both sides. And we're going to press that strip, and then we'll come back and make the end pieces. Now we're going to take our smaller borders, our shorter border strips, and we're going to sew one of these squares to each end. So one right there. So we're just going to sew one to each end of both border strips. Now we have these 2 strips, and we're just going to sew one to each end, like so. Make sure you line up these seams right here. So I'll lift that up so you can see it on the white table. Just want to line up this seam with this seam here. And then make sure you line it up on the other side as well. Right there. And sew that on there. Do the same on the other end. Just do one final press. And that's finished. Here's your nice table topper. Of course, I'll hold it up so you can see the whole thing. But you are done. And there it is, all finished. I'm gonna hang it up there so you can see it. There you go. And that was, again, our Country Charm table topper, number 613. The link is in the description, of course. So if you liked today's video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Hit that little bell so you're notified every time we put up a new video, because it's changed now, don't forget. We're just the 1st and 3rd Saturdays of the month. If you subscribe and hit the little bell, YouTube will let you know whenever we have a new video up, and then you don't have to remember. So we will see you next time with a brand new video, and until then, happy sewing!